clerks, and no one wants that. Some got pressed into the Navy or put down in the mines by the Pendleton or Boyle families. As hard as it was on the streets, as hungry as we all got, at least we was free. Hey, that's we were free. By the time we weren't... Okay, wait. By the time we weren't little uns anymore, I could read it in the accent. But I'll butcher the accent and it'll really piss a lot of people off. Well, I'll try it. By the time we weren't little ones anymore, Slackjaw was one to watch, usually calling us shots, when we took down a farmer's cart or sidewalk street vendor. He'd come up with the plan, give everyone some part to play and decide on the split. Most of us just went along, 'cause we learned fast that we made out better like that. More food, more coins. Plus none of us wanted to deal with Slackjaw when he was in a rage. Maybe that's not the right accent. He worked on a couple of big jobs with Sally across town, and that was enough to get the attention of the other bosses. He wasn't a street kid anymore. Now he was an up-and-comer, which meant trouble. Just morphed into Irish there. Another guy who fancied himself as such was Mike the Fish, who was working his way up running the protection racket among the factory women. One fine evening, we were all taken in the body show in the theatre house. Mike the Fish and his lot were in there in the cheap seats too. Just down the aisle from us, Mike gets a wild idea. He wasn't big on planning, and throws a heavy ceramic spittoon at the Slackjaw, hits him square in the face and breaks his jaw. We look to see if there's gonna be a blood brawl, but Slackjaw just points at the door and we all leave, with Mike laughing at our backs. I don't know which accent to use here. Let's see here. I could do waking up the next day without telling us why. Slackjaw motions for us all to follow. He still can't say a word. Boy, that Irish is tough. So we just come along. We stop at the docks and Slackjaw buys. Actually pay us a coin for it. A heavy chain covered in hooks. It's for fishing in the deep. Something you'd attach to a long line off the side of a ship. It's about 4 feet, mate. Okay, now it's totally morphing. Now I'm like down in... I'm in Cornwall now. It's about 4 feet and made of thick links. There are shark hooks coming off it at different angles. Slackjaw's got that thing wrapped around his arm, dangling at his side. Let's see here. Oh, I'll do really posh if I can. Not sure how he knew where Mike, the fish, was staying, but when we reach his gull's house, Slackjaw throws a bottle through the window, just like that. It's almost noon. There's a bunch of screaming inside, and Mike pokes his head out. Looking wide-eyed and baffled, when he sees Slackjaw out in the street, a look comes over his face that still gives me the willies. Pure murder. Murder? Yeah, I think that's the accent. Mike comes out the side door, bellowing like a blood ox, holding a cleaver, heading straight for Slackjaw. When they come together in the street, Slackjaw spins, and the shark hooks bite deep into Mike's arm and shoulder. He screams, but Slackjaw holds onto the chain. He's standing there with his jaw broken, clenched tight, with the chain wrapped round his left arm. Hooks sunk into Mike, the fish, just knifing him as fast as he can. Mike couldn't fight very well, hooked like that and using his left hand, but he was a big guy, and it took a lot of stabbing before he went to his knees. Everyone was cheering at first, but then we all went quiet. It just kept going and going, until finally it was just Mike the fish blubbering, crying like a baby, and the sound of Slackjaw's knife. When it was all over, and here's the brilliant part, Slackjaw took out a note and stuck it to Mike's face with a nail. It just said, If you want a job, come to the Bottle Street. Slackjaw didn't talk right for a couple of months, but word spread fast. I'm sorry. I'll just read it normal now. No, wait. No. I'm going to do like some Eastern accent. By the end of the year, once he had a sizable gang going, he sent out letters to the other bosses telling them that he was running a brand new crew over on Bottle Street. Most of them left or beat up the guys who delivered the letters. Green-eyed Trish even came back missing a thumb. But apparently Slackjaw was expecting that kind of reaction and had a backup plan. A week later, I'm just going to do it normal now. Sorry. A week later, 4 of the bosses were dead. Seemed like No. I don't want to do it regularly. This one's going to be French. A week later, 4 of the bosses... 1 week later... 4 of the bosses were dead. Seemed like a series of unfortunate events. That's a great movie. But everyone knew better. One shot dead by the watch while standing in the middle of a meat market. Another sleeping and falling into the water out cold. But of the older bosses found in bed, with his belly opened wide and the TV and spear stuffed into his mouth. Still not sure what that meant. And Sheila Barnsworth was found babbling in a cauldron or hot wax. What is this bubbling? What is hot wax? Slackjaw sent out another set of letters, offers to the underbosses, telling them they'd be treated fair as peers, and even sent Green-Eyed Trish with one of the letters all of the underbosses accepted. After spilling the guts of his main competition, Slackjaw went in for stabilizing his business real neat-like. Yeah, see? Real neat-like. Calling in favors, smoothing things over, giving everyone a bit of coin or drink as a bonus. Yeah. Showing what he could be like as a boss, so everything got quiet, which always makes the boys of the City Watch nervous, of course. Word went out among the Royal Spymaster's snitches, the responsible citizens group they called themselves, telling everyone working in a shop or sweeping off the front steps of their homes would keep watchful eyes for Slackjaw and his men, trying to suss out what they were up to and what had just happened. But Slackjaw ain't stupid. He greased a few palms among the shopkeepers. They must have been dry, I guess. And the watch, too, telling him that he was in town to stay and that things would be run properly from now on, without so much blood. He was finally a real boss. Actually, yeah. Ready to settle into the business of moving whiskey, running the hound fights, and offering up the ladies and gentlemen of the night, if you take my meaning. No, I don't get it. Then the plague came. Oh, yeah, I know what ladies and gentlemen of the night, I know what that is. Those are people who like to club. They're clubbers. Then the plague came. At first it seemed like a good thing. A few people got sick, and everyone wanted to buy those potions from Sokolov or Piero. A health elixir, or spiritual remedy, they call them. Slackjaw told me he saw an opportunity. We already had an old whiskey factory with a still, where we could water this stuff down and sell it discounted. Doing the same with. And you thought my reading was bad, but it's not my fault. It's how they wrote this. Doing the same with Sokolov's elixir was a smart plan. Pretty soon, everybody in the slums was sick, and business was good. But after a while, there were so many people down with the plague that everyone got scared. Everybody started acting real nasty, and everything fell apart. When people can't work, they don't have the coin for elixir, watered down or pure. Yeah, take a note, pharmaceutical companies. When the Empress died, it seemed like Dunwall would slide into the void. Spymaster Burroughs took over the watch and started using all that new Sokolov technology. Watchtowers, tall boys, and them arc pylons. They put up a wall of light across Clavering Boulevard and cracked down hard. But Slackjaw surprised us again. Instead of leaving town on a boat bound for Morley or one of the other isles, he stayed and kept it all together. We get as much elixir to fight off the plague as the City Watch, with their taxes and rations, and that's kept us alive so far. Crowley Street Bottle Gang. Well, we did it. Got through it, but only barely. Mystical fish artifact. What? Wow. My gosh, I'm loaded down with stuff. Okay, what's this? Field survey notes. The Royal Spy. I say. Excerpt from the personal memoirs of Hiram Burroughs, dated several years earlier. This is the 4th day, month of high cold. That's why you take Tylenol. Progress continues on the suppression of gang activity in the Distillery District, but more slowly than I'd expected. The ruffians operating there have been cunning. I'll grant them that, but it's only a matter of time. I'll see their leaders flogged in public and sent beneath the royal executioner's blade. If I had my way, that mute bastardo would be working night and day, removing the heads that need removing. Internally, the Empress does not seem pleased with my investigations. It seems that it is beyond her thinking, against her very nature as a trusting person, to believe that traitors move among us. But I know they do. They must. No! Jasmine would rather spend her time with the Royal Protector. At least he's likely to stop any immediate threat to her safety. But his strong arm is not what's needed against those who would undermine us. How will Corvo's sword stop a poisoned wine glass or an explosive delivered by courier? Let's see, how would I do that? I'll just have to be there and try it when